forget.
Won't you listen to reason? Will you open your eyes? It's a wonder what you'll find with an open mind. You may be surprised. Yeah, gotta get away from this illusion for the sake of the world. This delusion, it's gotta go. Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Atheist Experience. We are live. It's Sunday, February 27, 2011. I'm Matt Dillahunty, joining this week Jen Peoples. Welcome back.
Thanks.
So you got like the two kingpins of the ACA here, so it'd be a really good day to call in. And as you'll notice, we don't have our normal CG across the bottom, which means we're going to have to kind of give out extra information. The phone number is already posted above my head, although it's a little hard to read. It's 512-472-2255. We are live, as I mentioned, and we will be taking calls. This is a public access television program sponsored by the Atheist Community of Austin. The ACA is a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. And we have weekly meetings every Sunday at Romeo's on Barton Springs Road beginning at around 11:30, except for the first Sunday of the month when we host a lecture series at the Austin History Center located at the corner of 9th and Guadalupe. That begins at 12:15. I don't have the information for the next lecture.
Well, that's good because I do.
You do?
It's me.
It's you!
It's me.
That tells you how in sync the two heads of the ACA. What are you going to be speaking about at our lecture?
I'm going to be talking about the comfortable lies about don't ask, don't tell.
Awesome. Awesome. Lots and lots of changes on that front. By the way, there's an echo in here. I don't know.
Yeah, the way.
So I'm hearing Jen echo and me echo. Who knows? The joys of live television, we think we've sorted out the issues with the phones and they've been working well for the last couple of weeks or whatever, but also we're experiencing obviously the CG problems, and we're gonna go through without them. The phone lines are already full. Clearly we don't need to post any number in order to get people to call on the telephone. As a reminder, for more information about the Atheist Community of Austin, you can visit our website, www.atheist-community.org, and you can find a frequently asked questions page there, as well as information about upcoming events. There's a calendar of events there and contact information. In addition to this program, the ACA also sponsors a weekly internet audio podcast called The Nonprofits. We were live yesterday. I did a show with myself, Russell Glasser, Dennis LeVay, Beth Presswood. We were all on there. We chit-chatted. We talked about arresting the Pope. We talked about some of the administration's latest legal rulings and some anti-gay rulings, some anti-reproductive rights rulings and bills that are being proposed around, and also a little bit about the Atheists of Florida group and the problems that they've been having with their absolutely crazy city council down there. So stop by the website, nonprofitsradio.com. That's PROPHETS, and you can download last week's episode along with the previous episodes. Nonprofits will not be having a program next week or the following week. They'll be back live March 19th. I've got conflicting things, including a wedding out of town. So that type of stuff happens from time to time. The number's up on the screen. And if you don't get through on the telephone today or you don't want to, you can email tv@atheist-community.org. That goes to myself, most of the co-hosts and people behind the scenes. We can't possibly answer all of the email that we get, but we do appreciate it. We do read it. And if you want to make sure that it gets through the spam filter, the best thing you can do is put AETV or NPR for Nonprofits Radio in the subject line, and I already have filters that will make sure that those get put to the top of my inbox. So that's all I've got.
Okay.
What have you got?
Well, I pulled up this article from CNN because it's kind of an interesting story here. There's a church leader in Kenya. Her name is Patricia Sawo, or Savo, maybe that's how you pronounce it. And she's currently an ordained minister now, but she didn't start out that way, I guess. But her religious beliefs taught her that HIV was a curse from God. And in her mind, it was a moral issue.
Right.
It was something that happened to people who were disobedient. And so she operated with that in mind, and she had always told other people that God would heal them if they prayed and asked and did penance for their sins. And that seemed to work out well for her until one day she woke up and realized that she was covered in a shingles rash. Shingles, as some of you may know, is basically chicken pox that gets reactivated in your body when something goes wrong with your immune system. And so she went in, had herself tested, and sure enough, she was HIV positive. So after that, she started to experience the kind of treatment that she had advocated against people who had HIV, and realized that her 4 years of praying were not causing her to seroconvert to negative. So after that, she's actually doing good now. She founded a center to care for people with HIV, and now it's sort of evolved into a place to care for the children of AIDS victims. So after a child is orphaned due to AIDS, they continue to care for the children there. And she's since been ordained as a minister. And I guess the reason I wanted to bring this up is that her previous views on HIV and why it happened to people were based on her religious beliefs. And so it's yet another example where someone's religious beliefs has robbed them of their ability to feel empathy for someone else. So the only way she could understand what it was like to be a victim of HIV was to get HIV herself, and that makes this a double tragedy. First of all, it's always tragic when someone has to experience HIV, but to have caused so much harm, to spread that sort of thing in a community that's already significantly burdened from this, makes this a double tragedy. So, yeah, she's doing good now, but she's basically doing what she can to clean up the mess that she helped create.
Yeah.
It's directly attributable to her religious beliefs.
And so, good job for changing your position. Kudos to you. It's unfortunate that it took the direst of circumstances to actually get somebody to change their mind.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it does demonstrate that when the evidence and the harsh nature of reality come head-to-head in strong conflict with somebody's religious beliefs, there are occasions where reality will win out for that individual.
Yeah.
And we've seen it many times before, and it's one of the reasons that we do what we do here is in the hopes that other, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of well-meaning individuals who are just misguided, who have had their entire ability to think clearly about not only what some of us would consider trivial aspects of reality, but also about morality and other things. They've had their mind so absolutely poisoned by these religious and superstitious kind of indoctrinations, or that it just cripples them. And it's kind of sad. So it's one of the reasons that we end up doing what we're doing. A couple of other quick announcements to get out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and start taking calls. The American Atheist National Convention is happening in Des Moines, Iowa, April 21st through 24th. I will be on the speaker list, and I spoke to Dave Silverman, the president of American Atheists, the other day. I think I'm up Sunday afternoon, so anybody who's planning on leaving early, just go ahead and stay. It'll be fun. We'll make some fun out of it. And the hotel that the convention is taking place at is currently sold out, but they booked a special rate at the Marriott, which is about 4 or 5 blocks away. It's walking distance. There's going to be some transportation, and I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that Dave's actually planning on calling into this show next week to talk a little bit more about the convention and what's going on. And so we look forward to having him call in and talk to us. Unfortunately, he can't be here in person, or we'd do that. I also heard from the people who are organizing the Texas Free Thought Convention, which is an annual convention in Texas that just keeps getting bigger and better every year. This coming year it'll be in Houston, and their current plan is to do it in October, although they're fleshing out the date right now, and we'll get more information as the dates get sorted. Atheist Alliance International is having their European convention. I believe it's in May, although along with the CG being down, I don't actually have my notes with me today. But for any of the European fans of the show, please look into Atheist Alliance International. find out what's going on, whether or not you can attend. A lot of these conferences have done well, and a lot of them have not done as well. And so we're trying to make sure we get the word out and cooperate with other groups so that those people who are interested, who don't have the opportunity to socialize with other freethinkers, other atheists, other secular humanists, or don't want to just sit around and watch canned lectures on YouTube and would prefer to actually go see stuff in person and interact with other people, that they're aware of the opportunities to do that. So, and this last one I'll actually save for a minute because we've got Brandon in Dallas. How are you?
Oh, hey, Matt, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a comment about African Americans and why I feel that they are more likely to be religious versus other demographics, especially white males.
Sure.
Okay, you can hear me? Okay, sorry. I'm
Yeah,
listening to there's lag on the video.
Yeah, don't pay any attention to the video, and also this speaker's kind of loud. I'll just let the control room know. But go ahead.
Okay, this gets a bit politically incorrect at points, but my theory is that given the options people have had in the past and the history, I feel that African Americans had to, in order to survive, had to be more submissive and kind of fall into whatever's most culturally acceptable. And I think that's something that kind of gets passed down. Like, my dad's actually a very learned person. He's an engineer. He was actually a physics major, has a degree in physics and engineering, but he's still very religious just because, in order to get to where he needed to be, not ruffle any feathers, he was very, disciplined with religion and was just very quiet and submissive, a very submissive guy. That's kind of my comment on that. Versus white males, I guess, you're kind of, I don't know, you just have more option to think and feel and do however you feel.
Sure, traditionally.
I mean, it's...
Traditionally, white males have been, and for the most part continue to be, the sort of privileged class in, the de facto, you don't run up against much opposition in American culture, for sure.
Yeah, and I feel that, like, my generation growing up the way I do now, I don't really see the same kind of restrictions, or I don't feel like I have to be as threatened by authority as, like, my father's generation. So, I mean, I'm obviously I'm an atheist, just recently came out in the last year, and it's, there's still a lot of resistance. It's very awkward around a lot of my black friends and other, like, minority friends, but I find, it's a lot of my white friends that feel comfortable, expressing their thoughts beyond just what's the status quo and what's just in front of you, the mechanics of why things are, rather than just looking at what you see,
Yeah, there's a lot of different groups, and it's not just, African Americans or women or gays. There's a number of different groups that are going to, and not necessarily through any intentional or overt kind of sexism or racism.
Yeah, exactly. This is just an externality of way things have played out. It's just an unintended consequence of...
And one of the best things that we can do, we've talked about this issue a number of different ways before. My take on this, by and large, is I've overcome a lot of kind of narrow-minded thinking that was grilled into me early on, and what I try to do is not care at all about the sex or color or any of those other characteristics of an individual I'm interacting with any more than I would about their hair color or whether or not they're left-handed. And it's not always the easiest thing to do, because there are real differences between men and women. There are real differences culturally between how individuals are raised, and they're going to show up and they're going to affect interaction. And the best thing that I think we can do is, by and large, strive to ignore them and focus on the fact that we are all, in fact, human beings with similar minds and goals and lives and things that we, care about.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I mean, as I mature as a person, I find my circle of friends becoming, a little more constricted. It's, it's not so much space. There's not a whole lot of people as it used to be. Like, it's becoming a much smaller subset.
Yeah.
Well, and I think part of that is, as you mature, you become less willing to compromise who you are just to keep